Hi, my name is Aideen Glynn and welcome to the live launch of my new collection, Moth Stories. Thank you for joining me in my dining room. A great excuse to tidy your dining room is to say you're going to have an art exhibition in it, very motivating. So these paintings, firstly, they're not on my website just yet, so this is like a preview, I suppose. I'm going to show you them, and then I put a link in my bio. So that's, if you go to my profile, the picture in Instagram, and the line there, if you look at that, that'll bring you through to where the paintings are and to a special discount for joining me on this live art show. So thank you very much to everyone who's joining. This collection, I suppose, I just noticed that I'm really, really sensitive to what I see around me, and the colours are all different. They're much darker and greener than what I've been painting in recent months. And I suppose it's to do with the seasons changing and what I've been seeing around me. And when I paint, I read a little bit of poetry by maybe John O'Donoghue or Seamus Heaney often at the beginning. And I've been thinking a lot about old fairy tales that I used to read or that I remember of my childhood that used to, almost half frighten me. These really kind of beautiful but dark fairy tales. And old Irish mythology was one I remember being told as a child about my own name. That really quite disturbed me actually at the time. So that all kind of came together, and also what I was seeing around me, with the forest and wood and ferns and moss and stone and water. And there's something about land, that land is there before us. We come along, but it was there before. Something about that kind of primeval land that's there before us and the memories that it holds. And I think we probably are all the same. I feel very sensitive to my landscape. I really feel very Irish, and I feel very connected to Ireland. And I'm sure many of you are the same. And that connection, I think certain places really resonate with memories, and there's something kind of very spiritual there, something that was very magical. And that's, I suppose, what I was trying to tap into. And then just very lastly to say is, that some of you may know that I spend a lot of time coming up with the right title. It's a little bit like trying to name your child. It's quite tricky. I spend a lot of time doing that, and I write pages and pages of poetry and kind of stream of consciousness. And yesterday, I was really struggling. It took me a long time to get just the right title for each painting. But when I do, it's like the final coat of varnish. Just the painting just sort of comes to life, and it couldn't be anything else. So look, I'm just going to start showing you the paintings. That's enough, enough waffle. Thank you for everyone who's joined. Okay, let me just turn this around. Okay, so this painting is, I suppose, this is the star of the show. This is the painting I have all the time lapse of. It was a painting that I had started last February, and it was a blue and white and pink and red. This red section is a little bit of it underneath. Tiny bits of blue have left, and everything else really has changed. So if you watch the time lapses, you've seen some of that process, and I wish I painted that fast in real life. What I was trying to do is paint, I suppose, like a fairy tale, kind of a dark, kind of mythical forest and land, and something to do with the relationship between trees and land. And I also wanted it to be the kind of painting that if I was a child, I would find things in, little bits of magic. So I'm just going to show you some of the magic that's in it, some little hidden magic. I can almost imagine myself as a child watching this painting and suddenly finding something that nobody else has seen, and that's sort of what I was trying to capture. So I don't know if you can see this just here. Can you see that? That's a tiny little swan. Can you see? Just here, a tiny little swan that's almost hidden, but when you see it, you can't unsee it. And I'll just show you another little secret that I bury like buried treasure. Here in this kind of, I suppose this is an abstracted tree trunk. It's a tiny little collage of a machine. I don't know if you can see that with the light. I'll go up here. So it's kind of collaged in. Let me go up here. There's more kind of like roots, and it's all about like light coming through the woods. Let me show you what else, other little magic touches. There's an awful lot of layering. I just loved all this sort of light. It's almost that feeling when you squint your eyes and you see light coming through the trees. That's the idea. Let me find some more treasure for you. So I used a lot of different materials, like kind of lines and drawing, little bits of spray paint, dragging paint, splattering and layering, just to kind of give that energy and light. Okay, here's another little treasure here, right at the bottom here. This is similar to one of the paintings in my last collection. They're little jewels. These are actually tiny little pieces of nail varnish I collect for my daughter, and I seal them in a kind of a gel medium and painted them so they kind of catch the light. Probably not here, but they do. And there is more little hidden collage, if I can find, there's another one there. Just a little bit there. So there are some of the little magic treasures that are in there, and I really must say I'm really proud of this painting. I absolutely love it. So I've called it is We Want to Live Here Forever in This Forest of Ferns. That's the name I finally came to after hours of agonizing. So I suppose if you can see that, it's a kind of forest, magical kind of forest landscape. It's 100 meters high, and it's 120 meters wide. So it's quite a big painting. The edges were really, really messy, so I painted the edges this kind of like forest green. I've signed the back of it, and there's hanging mechanism on the back as well. And this painting is 2,700, and with the launch discount it is 2,160. So that's that. Let me just go over. Oh yes, this, by the way, is the print for the giveaway. Isn't that amazing? That's for everyone on the mailing list. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to tag anybody. It's just a little kind of present to say thank you. And I'll. It's at the 1st of October. Now this painting is all about. You can see this. It's kind of about twilight. You know how there's loads and loads of colours, and then when the light fades, the colours are still there, but they just get more subdued. This is a painting with oil and cold wax, and I don't know if you can see, there's so much texture in here. And then there's powdered pigment on top. It's almost like a hologram. I'll move it. I'm not sure if you can see it properly here. But I just actually, for me, it's very kind of magical and mystical. I've called it The Whispering of Twilight. And this painting is on a gessoed panel. So panel is basically a piece of wood, and the sides are white. I don't think this painting needs to be framed. I'll just put it down there so you can hear it's wood. Can you see all that kind of powdered pigment, the kind of reds? And then there's like a rainbow, but it's really faded and subdued. And there's all this texture that's coming through. I don't know if you can see the incredible texture here. There's layers and layers and layers of oil paint. So this painting is 50 by 40 centimeters. It's €850 with the launch discount at 680, and it's oil and cold wax. Oil is, it's just very special, and cold wax, it just gives this incredible like luminosity and layering. I mean, you can actually feel like you can go into the painting. It's so deep. I've also included a couple of paintings that actually tie in with this is the passage. So they're all included in that. Okay, no need to apologize for being late. I was late myself. These are the paintings, and you can see I've put some plants in my dining room in your honor, and I've told all my children and my family not to come in. They're warned. This is called The Sea Green Music of Moth. and this is acrylic with lots and lots of layering. I started off with these very pale pink and blue layers, and I built up using different techniques. So sometimes it's kind of this pooling, very, very gentle pooling, and then other times I stood really, really far away and I sort of splattered the paint. So it gives this energy, and I think it's that kind of tension between the calmness and the energy. There's a bit of a shine, so I'm just going to move this over here. And the edges are white canvas, and there are just some lovely drips that, you know, I actually enjoy. I would just leave it as it is. Actually, that's a very clean one. You'll see some of them are not so clean. This is 40 by 40 centimeters, and it's €600, and with the discount it's €480. And of course there's free shipping with every painting. Now this one is a little bit richer, and this is kind of all these autumnal colours coming through. This is called The Water in Each Well is Different. So for this painting I was inspired by, you know, all the kind of magic of wells in Ireland and all the wells that are there, and how they're thought to have magical powers, and also how each well has different water. The water has a different property and it tastes differently. So it's something about that kind of, you know, this is that relationship between water and stone, and how the water underneath certain springs, under certain stones and through the springs would have a different energy. So this is all about that kind of, it's actually really bad light here, we're here to the daylight. Can you see the layering? It's almost like looking into a pool of water with all these colours, sort of magical. And the very, very top layer there, that little spatter, is actually spray paint, kind of water-based spray paint, and the tiny touches of it gives it this kind of depth. The edges of this, it's 40 by 40 centimeters on canvas. Now there is lovely lines. It's a little bit messy, but I think it would still be okay hung. I actually like the lines because I think, to me, that's the top. That's how, you know, you can see how the painting was made. This could be framed if you wanted to, but I think you would get away with it. You can see the edges there. That's also 40 by 48 centimeters, 600 reduced to 480, and it's about the water in each well is different, that unique property of water and kind of magic, mystical power of water. Okay, now these are two little beauties here, two oil and coal wax that they're kind of delicate, so I framed them in a beautiful frame. They're both on cradled wooden panel. I signed the backs of my paintings. It's cradled to a hinge, and it's ready to hang in a frame. So this is how the framing looks if you opt for framing. Actually, these would be beautiful together. These are called I See the Light of the Leaves When I Close My Eyes, number 1, and the same title, number 2. And it's all about that, you know, when you are exposed to a lot of light in nature, and then you close your eyes and you're dreaming, and you can sort of see the lights, and it's about memories and dreams and landscape. It has many, many, many layers of oil and cold wax over many months, and actually oil and cold wax gives this incredible depth and texture. Again, you almost look like you're looking into the painting, that the painting is its own world or a dream. I really love these pieces, and I just love the colours there. And then there's these little speckles of powdered pigment that I've set with cold wax medium, and here I've scratched through, revealing the under layers. So I really, really love these two paintings. They're 30 by 30 centimeters. They are 580 each because of the framing, which is included, and with the discount they're 464 each. They look gorgeous together. They actually look fantastic against a white wall. They also look great against a dark wall. I had them hanging up earlier on. Now this is called Before the Forest Was Touched by Song. This is a really interesting painting. I painted it this way. most of the time it was in this kind of horizontal, and there's a lot of pouring and layers, and I had a lot of energy and a lot of difficulty with this painting, but then I just turned it this way and it suddenly seems to make sense. And there's many layers of acrylic and glazing and spraying and more layering and pouring. Now this is very messy, so I'm actually going to get this painting framed. I'm going to frame it, and I'm going to include the framing as part of it because it doesn't have, it has nice strips, but it's just a little bit too messy. So I wanted to show it to you. If I had it left in for framing, it wouldn't be here. But I just love so again, it's called Before the Forest Was Touched by Song, and it's all about that, I suppose, the land that was there before us, and that energy and that kind of magical quality of the land, of the forest. With the framing, this will be $750, and then with the discount, it's $600. Oh, by the way, the discount code is just until Monday at midnight. And these paintings, let's turn it on again. Hi. These paintings aren't on my website just yet. This is like a little preview launch where I get to come and talk about what I've been doing, and the discount, the access to the paintings are on my Instagram bio, and if you click on that, you'll get the discount code, and that's valid until Monday at midnight. Okay, back around to the paintings. Much more comfortable talking about paintings than seeing my own face, actually. Now, this one I'm also going to get framed. This is called The Old Stories of the Trees. It's a tiny little piece. Actually, I should turn off my overhead light. It's got a really bad glaze. You can see there's texture here and layering, a lot of color, and this kind of abstracted shape of a tree trunk. And it's all about that kind of, I suppose, the kind of knowledge of trees and the quality of trees. I painted the edges of it green, but actually I think it would look better with a frame like this. I think the colours would really pop. So I'm going to have it framed, and the framing will be included. And it looks better this way. Now you can see the colours now. So it's a little bit brighter, and that little splatter of blue is a little bit of water-based spray paint that really pops up on top, and you can see all the layers that are through it. Many layers on this painting. This is called The Old Stories of the Trees. It's 25 by 30 centimeters. I will frame it, so the framing is included in the price. With framing, it is €550, and it'll be reduced to $440 during this launch. Now we're on to the small babies. These are all 30 by 30 centimeters. Oh yes, this one is called The Healing Stones. There's this kind of history about stones having magical properties, and in ancient Ireland, if people had aches and pains, they'd go and they'd lie on stones, and the stones would absorb their pain. So that's the idea, and it's also about kind of maybe like fossilization. All these marks here, and it's kind of a very autumnal, warm, sunny piece, but I think it has a special, magical quality, I'd like to think. This is a really clean one, much cleaner than the others. This is perfect. This does not need to be framed. Look, there's just a lovely little drip there. That's 30 by 30 centimeters on acrylic mixed media on canvas. 480 reduced to 384 for the launch. And there's just, I don't know if you can see, there's just some lovely details, lovely marks, and I just love that layering. I don't know if you can see the red over the green, over the yellow, and the spatters of pink, and yummy details. And this is called The Healing Stones. And now here we have the Song of Moss. I was kind of thinking about moss a lot when I painted these. I just love moss. I love the kind of greenness of it, and the softness and the tactile nature of it, and its relationship with stone and trees and how it conceals. And I just imagined it sort of humming or singing. That's where this came from. So there's great energy and layering in this. Just trying to see where I'll bring it over here. I think the light is better here. Again, you can see almost the layering gives it this sort of almost 3D quality, like as if you could journey into this land. And that, the kind of splatter effect, it's my idea of the singing of the moth. And there's some lovely layering here. This has got a few gorgeous lines. Just love those lines. I wish I could be this tidy all the time. Just love, you can actually see the different colours on the lines. I think it would be a shame to frame this. Look at this, isn't this amazing? That's that kind of luscious yellow just poured over. That's left a mark. Now underneath here it's a bit messier because it was resting on things, but hanging on a wall, I think that would look gorgeous. 30 by 30 centimeters. It is the music of moss. So all these 30 by 30 centimeter ones are priced the same. There are 480, reduced to 384 with a special launch discount. This one, again, this is a little moss piece as well. It's called We Walked in the Kingdom of Moss. And there's some just really beautiful details. So you can see here I had different colours underneath, and then I put glazes on top, and you can see the colours coming through, and they're like almost like these feather-like details. I was thinking about ferns, the tops of ferns and the furling and unfurling of leaves, and that beautiful, I don't know, kind of organic shapes, like a flower or a pond. And then look at this. Isn't that, it's just like, I think it's very something very magical about these color combinations and shapes, and there's a little bit contrast between the dark and the light, and then it's got to be warmth up here as well. So We Walked in the Kingdom of Moss, 30 by 30, reduced to 384 with the launch discount. Then this one is called The Mapping of the Forest. Just imagining, really discovering an old forest and it being mapped. And the lines here are suggesting the marking out, the mapping of the forest, maybe taking something back from nature, something that's very old and was there before us. And I really love this. It's almost suggesting like a doorway or a pathway, or and they have these little marks. So the marks are suggestive. You can read, you can see shapes in them, but they're abstract. You don't have to. And now this one, this side here is a little bit messy. I actually like that. I mean, I actually go up to galleries. I'm always looking at the sides of paintings to see how do the artists do it. Everywhere else, there's a little fingerprints there. And there's a little bit of splattering of this pink overlapping. And then a little bit more pouring at the top. So you can see actually all the colours that are underneath, how they came through. The Mapping of the Forest, 384. Now this one is called That One Note of Silence. Let me just pick this up. With this one I was thinking about, I suppose, you go into the centre of forest and you might find a clearing or a place almost that no one has been there before. And there would be a silence there, like a really true silence. And somehow just all these colours and shapes are singing together, and the beautiful overlapping of shapes, kind of burgundy and greens and this lovely kind of blue tones, and then you've got this like red going across here. And again, I mean, these have got so many layers. I work on paintings for a really long time, and again, nice little lines coming down here. Look at this. Just love that. It's like a feather there, isn't it? Love that. So I wouldn't frame any of these. The ones that I think have to be framed, I've just basically put them in as they will be framed. That's a tiny little spatter of black, just really kind of creates that gorgeous energy. So that is that one note of silence. Okay, I've been asked questions about this one. This is called The Forest Began to Dream. Just love it. Love these colours. Look at that. It's like a world, isn't it? You could go into this, you could disappear inside this painting and sort of dream in there. So if you were a forest, if you were an ancient forest, what would your dreams look like? Would they look like this? Would they be really old? Would they be of flowers? Would they be of everything they've seen before us? Now, they were there before us. And again, that gorgeous mossy green. This is just some lovely drips. I'm always showing the drips. I love them. So yeah, I love this piece. The Forest Began to Dream. Again, the same price, $384 for all these 30 by 30 centimeter ones. It's mixed media, it's acrylic. I hardly know what's in it. So many different things. I just keep adding more until I feel it's done. But there's a beautiful harmony in this piece. Oh yes, this little one here. This is called I Would Like to Live Like a Leaf. I just left a little bit of exposed canvas up at the edge with like a faint spatter of different colours. And it has, it's kind of got so much joy and energy. And again, these lovely organic shapes. I think I read in a poem something about feeling like a leaf. I actually wrote the line on my studio wall, to feel like a leaf was one of the things I was thinking about, and that definitely, that energy is in that kind of verdant green, in the kind of center. You could, again, I just think of all these paintings like their own little lands. Very clean. It's hardly anything at all in this one. So that in the top is perfect. I don't know how I managed that because I'm actually very messy. Small little bits of texture here and here, just these different layers, and then lots of pools of flat area, and where I've layered over additional texture. And these lovely kind of tendril-like shapes. So that is I Would Like to Live Like a Leaf. Now there's a couple of paintings. This is another painting I'm including because it's called The Journey. It's got a similar palette. There's a little bit of collage up there saying follow, and I think the themes of it are very similar to this piece, so I'm going to add it in. It will be valid at the same discount, so I think it's only $224 with a discount. So just to explain, there's two paintings that are marked as sold, and that's because I've been invited into an exhibition and they've asked me to hold these two paintings. So they're marked sold, and this one is called Down, Down They Fell the Flowers One by One. And this one is called The Light Within Us, which is in their oil and cold wax. Just show you the texture here. Just love this painting. I spent a really long time with this painting. I think you get that kind of translucency and layering with oil and cold wax that nothing else can. So they're both marked as sold. It's because they're not available right now, but if somebody is interested, message me, and if they come back, I'll contact you. This painting would also, I haven't put it in, but it would, the colour works with it. So just very quickly then, the passage is in large oil and cold wax, and I've included it because it's got that theme of transformation and magic, and the colour palette fits. It's got incredible texture, and again it's got that kind of hidden qualities, so hidden and concealing and nature and land, and that again, that's reduced to 1,320. And then the last one is this one here, which is called I Took This Landscape as My Friend, and that is $440 with a discount, and that is framed. So my frames look like this. So that's, turn this around. Hi, that's that. Actually, I'm getting used to this live business. It's not as hard. I think I was really nervous beforehand, but once you start, it's. I I could talk about my paintings all the time. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little bit of insight into my crazy thoughts while I'm painting and my inspiration. I just want to say thank you so much for all the support and the lovely messages I've gotten. And I do believe in transformation and change. If I can decide that I'm going to become an artist at 51, any of you can do anything. So thank you very much for all the support and the lovely messages, and thank you for watching. If you're interested in a painting, click on the link in my bio and that'll bring you through to the discount of the page. Any questions, send me an email. Thank you very much and enjoy your evening. I'm going to go and have a lovely big glass of red wine now. Bye.